Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. Yesterday was the main event fighters press conference. Today is the turn of the undercard press conference. Let's hope we have a bit of drama in this one too. Welcome once again inside the ballroom here at the magnificent MGM Grand Garden Arena. Adil Aduba alongside Ira Hawani and Chris Mannix. We will get to, I promise, the elephant in the room, which is Ryan Garcia's positive test. But we are here for an undercard press conference, so let's show those guys respect as well. Chris, anything you're expecting from today?
Not expecting the kind of fireworks we got yesterday when Oscar De La Hoya took the stage and took direct aim at Canelo Alvarez, but I do think we're going to see some pretty interesting fighters, and there are 2 title fights on this undercard. Now, they're not going to be billed as full title fights, but there are 2 welterweights on this card, Mario Barrios and Amantas Stanionis, who have secondary versions of the 147-pound title. Those titles are currently held by Terrence Crawford. I think we all could agree Terrence is not going to come back to 147 pounds. So there are some compelling fights here on the undercard before the big main event.
Yeah, some really good fighters on the undercard. You probably can hear Miguel Flores behind us kicking things off. So let's head over to him now for the undercard press conference.
On the line against the unbeaten former champion, Jaime Munguia. This is a PBC pay-per-view event on Prime Video that all begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, from the T-Mobile Arena in the fight capital of the world, beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. In addition to the pay-per-view being available on Prime Video, regardless of a Prime subscription, you can order the pay-per-view on DAZN.com or contact your local cable and satellite TV outlets, as well as ppv.com. As well as this event is promoted in association with Canelo Promotions and TGB Promotions, alongside Golden Boy Promotions and Zanfer Boxing Promotions. Now, if you still want tickets and want to be in the building this Saturday, May 4th, from the T-Mobile Arena, tickets are still available at AXS.com. Now, we also want to thank our sponsors for helping make this fight week. We want to thank Corona Premier, the exceptional light beer. It's fight night, light it up. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, only in theaters May 24th. VMC Tequila Cocktails, el origen ante todo. Value, Casa de Bolsa. El Mexicano brand of products, bringing authentic sabor to your table. Somos El Mexicano. And O'Reilly Auto Parts, professional parts people. And sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. All right, before we get to our fighters here on stage, I want to bring up a man who is responsible for helping put this entire fight card together, been responsible for many big fights throughout the boxing history. Please welcome the president of TGB Promotions, Mr. Tom Brown.
Thank you, Miguel. Well, Saturday night will deliver another great pay-per-view undercard leading up to the all-Mexican showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia. So the fans are once again in for non-stop entertainment on this Cinco de Mayo weekend with 3 world title fights on the pay-per-view portion of the card underneath Canelo and Munguia. In the co-main, we have Mario Barrios defending the welterweight title against the hard-hitting Argentinian Fabian TNT Maidana. I was just telling Mario I always love his ring entrances, and he's going to give us a good one again, he said. Also, the Heartbreaker, Brandon Figueroa, puts his featherweight title on the line against the former world champion, Jesse Magdaleno. You know, Brandon's fan-friendly style always turns his fights into a Fight of the Year candidate. You look back at the Mexago fight, the Fulton fight, the 7th round of the Luis Neri. So you definitely don't want to miss this fight, especially with Jesse's style and the way they're going to match up. And then we kick off the pay-per-view portion of the card with the undefeated welterweight champion, the WBA welterweight champion, Amantas Stanionis, finally getting a chance after all the cancellations. I'm going to get in the ring and defend his title again against the unbeaten 2-time Olympian, also an amateur rival of his. So we've got a great opener on the pay-per-view portion. And then on the Prime Video, starting at 3 o'clock, so you'll definitely want to be there early. Jesus Ramos Jr. returns again to battle the KO artist, Johan Gonzalez. And then opening that, the young Vito Mielnicki Jr. takes on the veteran slugger Ronald Cruz. You know, Vito just keeps getting better and better with each fight. This is a big step for him. With Cruz, we're going to get a great fight, so you want to be there early. Any fight on this card could be a show stealer. Like I said, Vito's still 21 years old. I think you got a birthday coming up next weekend too, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, I just want to say thank you and make sure you're there early because it's a tremendous card once again. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tom. And now it's time to hear opening comments from our fighters. First, we have all four fighters, as Tom mentioned, that are going to be featured on the prelim portion of our card. And like he mentioned, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. You can watch those bouts on Prime Video for free. We'll bring up first, with a record of 19 victories, 12 by knockout, opposite of 3 defeats and 1 draw. Please welcome from Los Angeles, Ronald Cruz.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? My name is Ronald Cruz, and I just want to say how excited I am to be here. I know I'm facing a great fighter in Vito, but this is my time, baby. This is my time. I'm here to shock the world. That's what I'm here to do, and I've trained really hard. I've been training for the last 2 years, getting ready to fight a world champion, you know, and Vito's in my way. All respects to him, but we're going to put on a show this Saturday night. I promise you that. So stay tuned, everybody. Make sure you keep those eyes peeled and don't blink.
And now we'll bring up his opponent, who'll be going 10 rounds in the super welterweight division. This kid has been making strides with each and every single fight. He's 17 victories, 12 by knockout, just 1 defeat. Proudly representing Roseland, New Jersey, here is White Magic, Vito Mielnicki Jr.
What's going on, everybody? First and foremost, I want to thank God. Without him, none of this is possible. I want to thank my family. They sacrificed a lot throughout the years for me to be in this position. I want to thank my team, Ronnie Shields, Anthony Carr, sacrificing time away from their family every day to be in the gym with me. But I'm just blessed to be in the position I am. And everybody tune in Saturday night. You don't want to miss it. Expect fireworks. Expect a dominant performance. And I'm going to continue to grow each and every fight. So continue to tune in and continue to show me love. Thank you, guys.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
And now in our second fight on those prelims on Prime Video, we want to go into our next matchup. It's a 10-round super welterweight clash. And this opponent coming up now to the podium, he is a true knockout artist. Out of his 34 victories, he's got 33 of those by KO and just 2 defeats. From Valencia, Venezuela, please welcome Johan Gonzalez.
Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Johan González, súper agradecido por estar aquí y en esta gran cartelera, agradecido primeramente con Dios y todos sus organizadores y bueno, a demostrar de qué estamos hechos y demostrar el talento de Venezuela aquí en Las Vegas. Gracias.
Good afternoon, my name is Johan Gonzalez. I'm super thankful to be here, super thankful with God and with the organizers that have made this possible. And I'm ready for this fight, and I'm ready to put the Venezuelan flag up high. I want to make everybody proud. You don't want to miss it.
And now it's time to see his opponent as he continues to remain one of the top contenders in the loaded 154-pound division. He's representing Casa Grande, Arizona with 20 victories, 16 by knockout, and just 1 blemish. Please welcome Jesus Mono Ramos.
What's going on, everybody? I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank PBC, Al Heyman, my team for the opportunity, and my team for their hard work as well. I'm just excited to be here, be back, and prove that I am at the top of the 154-pound division. I got a tough opponent in Johan Gonzalez, but it just makes for a more exciting fight, and that's what we look for: exciting fights and tough fights. Thank you, guys.
And now we will head to our opening bout for our pay-per-view card from T-Mobile Arena this Saturday, May 4th in Las Vegas. This should be a tremendous opening matchup, 12 rounds for the WBA Welterweight Championship. He has been waiting for his opportunity for a very long time, and now it is finally here. He is another knockout artist with 6 victories, 5 by knockout, no defeats, and 1 draw. Out of Barcelona, Venezuela, here is Gabriel, El Capitán Maestre.
Muy buenos días a todos los presentes. Bueno, en primer lugar, darle las gracias primeramente a Dios por esta oportunidad que me está dando de pelear el día sábado por un título mundial. Agradecerle a PBC, al Jaime, a Luis de Cuba Jr., a la AMB por la oportunidad. De verdad que contento de estar aquí en esta magna cita, donde estará peleando Munguia y Canelo. De verdad que feliz y contento. De verdad que, bueno, esperemos que el sábado le guste esta batalla que vamos a dar Estanioni y yo, que de verdad que eso va a ser una guerra y no se lo pueden perder. Saludos, gracias.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank God more than anything for making this happen. Also, PBC, Louis de Cuba Jr., Al Heyman, and the WBA for making this possible as well. And this is going to be a war. I can't wait to make this happen, to show you guys all the fireworks that are going to be on display in the ring. And it's going to be a fight that you don't want to miss, because it's going to be a clash of really 2 great fighters.
Thank you, Martin Batar, with the translation. And now we head on over to the other side as we bring up the champion, the WBA welterweight champion. He has been waiting a very long time to get to this moment. We're just 2 days away from fight night. I know he's excited. He's undefeated, 14-0 with 9 wins by knockout from Kaunas, Lithuania. Here is Eimantas Stanionis.
Hello, everybody. It's been a very long time, and I'm very, very happy to be fighting in Vegas. Never fought here. When I was a kid, it was just a dream. Where I came from, from small country, it's only few people can make here where I'm standing. So I'm very happy and glad of my hard work. Also want to thank PBC, WBA, and all my team. And on Saturday, it's going to be fireworks. I will bring that because of my style, Cinco de Mayo, you have to come with something special. So see you on Saturday.
And now we go to our next bout, which should shape up to be an all-action fight. First up, out of Las Vegas, right here with 29 victories, 18 by knockout, and 2 defeats. He is a former super bantamweight world champion, Jesse Magdaleno.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm just happy to be here. First off, I want to thank God for the opportunity. I want to thank my team, my wife, my son, my coaches, Brandon, and Jorge Capetillo and Edgar Sandoval, also my manager, Hector. I'm just happy to be here. I'm very grateful, excited for this fight. I know it's going to be a firework fight Saturday night, and let's get the show on the road.
And now we'll bring up his opponent, who is one of my personal favorite fighters to watch. His style is so pleasing for fight fans across the world, especially Mexican fight fans. Comes forward, he never stops, he throws so many punches, a high volume amount of punches. He is the interim WBC featherweight champion from Weslaco, Texas, with 24 victories, 18 by knockout, and just 1 defeat and 1 draw. Here is the Heartbreaker, Brandon Figueroa.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First off, I want to thank God, TGB Promotions, Al Heyman, PBC, my family, of course, my dad, Rich, Bob, everyone, pound for pound, for opening the doors for me and my family. Primeramente, le quiero darle las gracias a Dios, a PBC, TGB Promotions, Canelo Promotions, pound for pound, Bob, Rich, mi familia, más importante. I'm just very honored to be here. Es una bendición estar aquí. Estoy muy orgulloso de siempre representar a mi bandera. I'm always happy to represent my flag, my roots. And I'm just so happy to be here, man. I just can't wait for Saturday night. I know these guys can't wait to let their hands go. Y no puedo esperar para la noche que venga. Va a ser una pelea, una noche para los mexicanos. Los mexicanos van a ganar esa noche. Yo sé que esos muchachos aquí ya están listos para pues, a meterse al cuadrilátero, pues a tirar con todo. So thank you everyone for coming out, supporting, showing love to all these boxers. We work so hard. Gracias a todos por darnos el apoyo, el amor, porque yo sé que trabajamos muy duro como boxeadores. Y pues ya no puedo esperar. Thank you Jesse for accepting the fight. Gracias a Jesse Magdaleno. Ya no puedo esperar, estoy muy ansioso. So gracias a todos por estar aquí. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
And now we head to our co-main event. Both of these men have said, we're going to steal the show. I know many people are really looking forward to Canelo versus Munguia, rightfully so, but they said we are going to be fireworks, all action from the get-go. So I am very excited for this one. 12 rounds for the interim WBC welterweight title. First up from Margarita Santa Fe, Argentina, with 22 victories, 16 by knockout, and just 2 defeats. Here is Fabian TNT Maidana.
Bueno, hola, buen día a todos. La verdad que, bueno, primero quiero darle las gracias a Dios por esta oportunidad, a mi promotora OR, a PBC, a mi entrenador Cristian. Y bueno, nada, invitarlos el sábado 4 a una gran batalla contra Mario Barrios. Así que los espero y gracias por esta oportunidad.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank God for this opportunity, first and foremost, and also my promoter, PBC, as well. So I'm going to invite you all to witness what's going to be a great battle between Mario Barrios and I. I'm very pleased to be here Saturday, May 4th. Tune in. It's going to be awesome.
And now we go to his opponent. He is the interim WBC welterweight champion. He never turns down a fight. This is a guy that will fight anyone and everyone. He has proven it throughout his career. He is the former 140-pound world champion with a record of 28 victories, 18 by knockout, and just 2 defeats. Here is Mario El Azteca Barrios.
What's up, everybody? Thank God for being here. Big thank you to my team, Al Heyman, PBC, my manager Luis de Cubas Jr., Bob Santos, Richard Barrientos, my sister Selena. Yeah, I mean it's been a great camp. I'm pretty tired of fight week. Saturday is almost here. Shout out to Fabian taking this fight. I have no doubt, he's coming with it. He's coming with a lot to prove. But, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure my hands raised on Saturday. But you guys are for sure in for a hell of a night of boxing. This is a stacked card from start to finish. And I'm just happy to be a part of it all. Thank you.
All right, now we will begin our Q&A portion of our press conference. And first off, we want to go back and start with our prelim portion. And like I mentioned earlier, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. That will be free on Prime Video. And we will first start off with Vito Mielnicki and Ronald Cruz. Vito, obviously, you're very young. You've accomplished already quite a bit early on in your career. What's been working so well? I mean, your last 4 fights, they have all been stoppages. What is really starting to hit your stride right now?
Yeah, well, first of all, I haven't really accomplished much from what I know I'm going to accomplish in the sport, what I'm, God willing, will accomplish in the sport. But I'm just blessed to be in the position I am. Just staying in the gym, staying locked in. I've been in Houston, Texas, working day in and day out, getting great sparring, great work with Ronnie Shields, my coach Anthony Carr as well. Just blessed to be in the position I am. Obviously, Al Heyman, PBC is doing a great job of putting me on great platforms to showcase my talent. But, yeah, I'm just extremely blessed.
Ronald, you heard from Vito. He's coming in with 4 straight stoppages. How do you slow down that momentum?
That's what I hear. I like that. A challenge. You know, I think nowadays a lot of fighters are afraid to take losses, and all great fighters take a loss, and that's fine. You know, I like a challenge, and the way we stop it is by coming Saturday night and tuning in, baby. You guys are going to see the game plan. We've worked really hard for this camp. We've studied Vito, and as for my previous camps, I don't think I've gone into the fights with the proper game plans, and this time we really structured an entire camp to fight Vito, and I'm really excited to show what we did and what we have planned.
Back to you, Vito. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. You've been a part of already a couple of big cards, Wilder Fury 2, Tank and Ryan last year, and now another one, Canelo Munguia. What are these experiences doing for your career, being a part of these fight weeks, especially a fight like Saturday night of that magnitude?
Yeah, well, I think just being a part of these kind of atmospheres over and over again, I'm just more or less just having fun, just enjoying all the moments, absorbing it like a sponge. And yeah, like I said, I'm just blessed to be a part of events like this. I've been working since I'm 7 years old to be in positions like this, and now we're here, and now it's time to put on a show Saturday night.
All right, you know I got to get predictions from you guys, and for everyone else at these tables, I'm going to ask you guys for predictions. You got to get them. Ronald Cruz first. How does Saturday night end for you?
That's how it ends.
Vito, how do you see Saturday night playing out?
Just tune in, expect fireworks, expect a dominant performance. I know I have a great opponent, Ronald Cruz, in front of me. We're just ready to go. We had a great camp, so tune in. And like he said, I'm going to say it my way. My hand will be raised Saturday night.
Woo! There you see it. That's going to be opening up our prelims. Now we move on to our second prelim bout as we go to Jesus Ramos. Jesus, you continue to remain one of the top contenders of a loaded 154-pound division. You did suffer a very controversial loss to Erickson Lubin in your last outing. That was on the Canelo Charlo card back in September. What did you learn from your first defeat in that fight?
I've learned a lot from my first defeat. You know, like you said, it was controversial, so it was really hard. But like I said, I learned a lot, and it just made me hungrier. You know, it made me hungrier, and now I'm back to prove where I belong, and yeah, just hungrier, and it's gonna show Saturday night.
As for you, Gonzalez, you have won 3 straight fights. How do you make it 4 straight fights, especially pulling off the upset against Jesus Ramos?
Yo has ganado 3 peleas al hilo. ¿Cómo vas a hacer para que esa racha sea de 4 contra un oponente duro como Jesús?
Bueno, el mismo trabajo que he venido haciendo, y gracias a Dios que ya estoy en los Estados Unidos, tengo una buena preparación, buenos entrenadores, seguí demostrando de que estamos hechos, pues, y para ser campeón hay que ganarle los buenos, y él es bueno, y lo demostraremos el sábado.
To be a champion, you gotta be the good ones, and he's one of the good ones. It's all about relying on the work I've been doing. I'm blessed to have a great team, great trainers, and that's going to be the strategy to where if we stick to what we've been doing, then we're going to be just fine.
Jesus, how do you separate yourself from Gonzalez, especially with his power? 33 knockouts in 34 victories.
I have power as well, but you know I can box. You know I have faith in my boxing and in my boxing abilities and my talent. And that's what I'm going to use, you know, if needed, you know. But I want to give the fans a good show. So if that means going toe-to-toe with Gonzalez, we'll do that as well. You know, we're not here to back down from nobody, and we're just here to put on a good show for the fans.
Johan, Saturday night, what happens?
¿Qué va a suceder el sábado por la noche? ¿Cuál es tu vaticinio?
Bueno, yo vine preparado para lo que el rival venga. Sé que ahí a la guerra, vamos a ir a la guerra, como todo. Para eso soy boxeador.
I come ready for anything. If I gotta go to war, I'll go to war. That's what being a fighter is all about.
Jesus, same question. What goes down Saturday?
You know, like these guys said, you know, I will have my hand raised, and by all means necessary.
There you heard from Jesus Ramos, Johan Gonzalez. It'll be our second fight on the prelims, and now we will turn things over as we enter our pay-per-view portion of the card. As we open things up with Gabriel Maestre and Imantas Stanionis. This should be a fantastic matchup. Both guys are very familiar with each other. Imantas, you've been very vocal about these last couple of years being extremely frustrating for you. How good is it finally to be back in the ring, and what are you looking to prove on Saturday?
You know, I just want to be back in the ring, and when I hear the bell, I'll be the happiest man on the planet. I'll be just happy and me in the ring.
And as for you, Gabriel, you have been an underdog in several fights, and you always find a way to come out on top. Imantas is someone you're very familiar with in the amateurs. How will Saturday be different? Because he was able to get that decision, but it was in 2015. How is it going to be different Saturday?
Gabriel, estás acostumbrado a no ser favorito en tus peleas y aún así te sobrepones. Tenés el recuerdo también de tu pelea contra Stagnionis cuando eras amateur. Fue una derrota por una derrota exigua. Entonces, ¿qué opinás que va a ser distinto esta vez y qué lecciones sacaste de esa pelea hace 9 años?
Bueno, sí, mira, desde que estoy aquí en Estados Unidos, siempre en mis peleas que he tenido aquí, de las 2 peleas que fueron el año pasado, siempre estaba del lado B y ya todos saben lo que pasó. Eso lo que cuando peleamos Stagnionis y yo en el 2015 en el Mundial de Qatar, en amateur. Bueno, fue una pelea que fue algo cerrada, creo que me fue un poco inclinada a mí, pero bueno, se la dieron a él. Ya eso pasó, ya esta es otra etapa en el profesional. Ya el sábado nos vamos a enfrentar nuevamente. Y bueno, estamos bien preparados para afrontar lo que venga.
Look, I'm used to being the B-side. My 2 fights in America last year, they were with me as the B-side, and you saw how they turned out. And as you mentioned, I did fight Stagnionis in the Qatar World Cup 2015 when we were amateurs. He won. I thought that I had won that fight, but regardless, doesn't matter. It's about turning the page, going after it, and we're different fighters now. We're professionals, and it's going to be a great fight no matter what.
Imantas, is there any cause for concern because you've been out of the ring for a little bit, and especially you're fighting a guy who fought twice last year? He's hungry. He wants that title belt from you. What are you going to do? What was the approach like going into this camp?
I was training all the time, I was supposed to fight month after month after month. It was hard, but I stayed disciplined, stayed training all the time and ready. I said from any given day, give me 6 weeks and I'll be ready and I can jump in the ring. So I know he's coming with everything. He has a big opportunity, For him, this fight is do or die, but same for me, I work a lot hard and I'm in this position and I'm happy and I'm fighting on this big card. It's just a dream, and, I will do everything to stay, undefeated and have my belt.
Now, if you are able to get past Maestre, you got a man a couple of seats down. He's got a big fight against Maidana. It could be the winner of Maidana Barrios. Is that a fight you would welcome if you're able to get through Maestre Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm not overlooking Maestre. He's a tough fighter, 2-time Olympian, has a big amateur background. But of course, I'll fight anybody. I know he's fighting anybody also, so I like that mentality, like throwback fighters, like back in 80s, that's what I like. So I want to be the same.
And now back to you, Maestre. Prediction on Saturday. This is a rematch, even though this is the first professional fight between you two. This is a rematch from the amateurs. How does it go down?
Vaticinio para esta revancha tan esperada, casi una década esperaste. ¿Cómo pensás que va a terminar esta pelea de sábado por la noche?
Mira, esta pelea yo pronostico que va a ser una guerra, de verdad, va a ser una batalla que le vamos a regalar a todo el público que vaya ese día, a todos esos mexicanos, de verdad que se lo merecen. Y vamos con todo. Yo sé que Stagnionis es fuerte, le gusta ir adelante, y a mí también me gusta su estilo de pelea, me gusta la guerra, el tú a tú, el duro, la sangre, no sé, ahí va a haber, no sé qué pueda pasar, pero bueno, lo que sí sé es que va a haber una batalla.
I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but I do know it's going to be a battle. Mexican fans deserve to see a total war, and that's what we're going to give them. We're going to give them, blood, sweat, tears, everything. And it's going to be a spectacle to remember. And, it's a rematch to where I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I'm going to give it my all. I can promise you that.
And for you, Imantas, how do you retain that WBA welterweight title?
Like you said, it's going to be a war, so I'll welcome him in the middle of the ring, you know, and we are going to just bang like Mexicans do.
That should be a very fun fight this Saturday, opening things up on our pay-per-view card. And now we will turn things over to our next bout as Brandon Figueroa takes on Jesse Magdaleno, as this should be an all-action-packed fight. I mean, both of these guys like to press forward. It is going to be toe-to-toe action for all 12 rounds if it goes the distance. For you, Brandon, you know, coming into this fight, you're in the ring with a guy that he was a world champion at the time when you were just coming up. You were a prospect back in 2016. What is it like now to be in the same ring with the former champ?
I mean, it feels amazing, you know, just fighting these guys that are decorated, former world champions. I mean, to me, it means a lot. I've always wanted to fight the best ever since I was small. And here I am in one of the biggest stages of the year, fighting a former world champion like Jesse Magdaleno. I mean, it's a great opportunity, a blessing at the same time. And I just want to go out there and just keep doing my thing. I love fighting. I love everything about this sport, and I just can't wait to go out there and put it all together.
And now over to you, Jesse. Do you feel like this is one of your last big opportunities being in a world title fight?
No, because I know I come and I put on a show. I always bring it, you know, no matter what it is. I always come and I show out, and I give the fight fans what they want. It's not, I never look at it as the end. It's always just the beginning.
And what would a win over a guy like Brandon Figueroa do for your status in the division as well as for your career?
You know, it'll be something great, you know, and it is going to be something great. You know, we're coming ready. We trained tremendously hard for this fight. You know, we're just ready to come out Saturday night. I know it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be an amazing fight for everybody, and also for ourselves. And like I said, it's going to be something big for me.
And now over to you, Brandon. Your last fight was in March of 2023. You've been itching to get back into the ring. Do you sort of see this as sort of a reintroduction to fight fans again, especially being on a card of this magnitude?
I mean, of course. I feel like I'm an action-packed fighter. There's not a lot of action-packed fighters nowadays, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why boxing is not really interesting no more. A lot of people are looking their eyes somewhere else, but that's why there's stacked cards like this to bring back the attention to boxing, to make fans love boxing once again. And I'm a fan-friendly fighter, and I just love putting on a show. I love throwing a lot of punches. I love exciting the fans and putting them on the edge of their seats. And yeah, just making sure that they go home satisfied, happy. We see such beautiful violence, as they call it, and yeah, that's my job, is to go out there and give it my all.
Back to you, Jesse. Saturday night, what happens?
The fans are going to be happy. That's what happens. You know, it's going to be a good fight. Brandon comes to bring it. I come to bring it. You know, as far as, you know, who's going to come out with the winner, you know, may the best man win.
And over to you, Brandon. You've been waiting for this for over a year, and now it's just 2 days away. Jesse Magdaleno, how does it end?
It ends with everyone winning. Mexicans versus Mexicans, stacked card, Canelo versus Munguia. The Mexican fans are going to win Cinco de Mayo weekend. Me and Jesse are going to put on a show. All these guys are ready. I can feel the energy. T-Mobile Arena is going to be explosive. The atmosphere is going to be insane. I already know how the Mexican fans come, and it's going to be amazing, electric. Everyone will feel it when you walk into the arena. Everyone's just going to be going berserk. And yeah, I just can't wait to give fans a great show, and God willing, I come out with the victory.
There you heard it. Brandon Figueroa against Jesse Magdaleno. That should be an action-packed fight this Saturday night. Now we move over to our co-main event this Saturday, May 4th, from T-Mobile Arena. Mario Barrios against Fabian Maidana. They both have said they feel like they're going to steal the show and have a fight of the night candidate Saturday night. So first off, for Mario, I want to first off congratulate you on the news of you're expecting a baby coming with your girlfriend. So congratulations on that. You know, that just kind of adds as you continue to press forward in your career. For this camp, what's it been like for you? Because you recently started training out in Las Vegas. I know you've been there for your last camp. What has that change done for you in your career? Because you've won 2 straight. You have been putting guys away. You put Ugas down a couple of times. You dominated that fight. What are we seeing different from Mario Barrios?
The move here to Vegas, you know, it's been great for, you know, my career. But yeah, I'm going to be a dad in a few months. You know, both of our families are very excited. Both of us are very excited. But yeah, no, Vegas has been treating us well. You know, a big thank you to Richard Barrientos, you know, opening his door to me as soon as I, you know, came out here. You know, being there with him and Bob Santos, we've been making all the necessary changes, or not even changes, really. You know, just continuing to add on to what has, you know, already got me this far in my career. And yeah, you know, we have the momentum going right now, and we're going to try to keep that going.
And now over to you, Maidana. People obviously know the Maidana name due to your brother, but what are people going to learn about you Saturday against Mario Barrios?
Tu hermano dio a conocer el nombre Maidana en el mundo del boxeo y lo puso bien alto. Pero ¿qué va a aprender el mundo sobre vos, sobre Fabián Maidana, este sábado por la noche?
Bueno, yo vengo a demostrar, ¿no?, de qué estamos hechos, así que nada, solo puedo decir que vengo a llevarme ese cinturón a Argentina, así que a dar una gran batalla para llevar ese cinturón.
I've come here to show what I'm made of. I've come here to take that belt away from Mario and take it back to Argentina. It's going to be a great battle, and you're going to see what I'm capable of.
Mario, you heard from Maidana. He says he's taking that belt from you. He's taking it back to Argentina. This is Cinco de Mayo weekend. What do you say, and what's your response to Maidana?
You know, it's I know he's coming a long way. You know, he's I have no doubt, you know, he's gonna bring the fight. But you know, it's Cinco de Mayo weekend. I'm gonna go in there, you know, representing my Mexican and indigenous roots, how I always do. I have no doubt, you know, the boxing fans, you know, are gonna be very satisfied with the fight. But you know, I got to go in there and do whatever it takes, you know, to make sure my hand is raised at the end of the fight.
And now to you, Maidana. You know, you are able to come into this fight, and how many problems do you present to Barrios?
¿Qué tan problemático va a ser tu estilo de pelea para Barrios?
Nada, mi estilo va a ser el de siempre, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué hace él también, ¿no? Así que mi estilo va a ser el de siempre y bueno, como te dije antes, venimos a dejar todo, a llevarnos ese cinturón.
My style is going to be the same that it's always been. I'm going to stay true to who I am, and we're also going to adjust to whatever Mario attempts to do. But I can't emphasize this enough. I've come here to take that belt and bring it back to Argentina. That's the bottom line.
And now back to you, Mario. You have spoken, you know, now moving up, having a few fights at 147 pounds in this welterweight division. This has always been one of boxing's premier divisions. How do you etch your name into that boxing history and the renowned legends that we have seen be champions at 147?
I got to go out there Saturday, you know, just not only win, but win in, you know, grand fashion, you know, whether it's knockout, whether it's just, you know, control the fight, go in there with bad intentions as I always do. But yeah, you know, the welterweight division is stacked, you know. We got a Maestro and Saniones opening the card. You know, they're two hell of a fighters, and yeah, I mean, the welterweight division in general, you know, it's opening up, and I know, you know, to be in these big, exciting fights, a win is absolutely necessary come Saturday.
Maidana, prediction Saturday, how does it end?
Bueno, Fabián, tu predicción para este sábado, ¿cómo termina esta pelea? ¿Decisión? ¿Knockout?
No sé cómo va a terminar, lo único que sé que vamos a ganar esa pelea.
I don't know how it's going to end. All I know is that I'm going to win that fight.
Mario, same question. How does Saturday end?
Whatever it takes to stay in still.
There you heard it. That's our co-main event. Mario Barrios against Fabian Maidana. You heard from all of the men. It is going to be a memorable May 4th fight night from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is a Premier Boxing Champions pay-per-view event presented by Canelo Promotions. You don't want to be anywhere else May 4th. This should be an outstanding card. All right, we want to thank all of you guys for joining us. We're going to have fighters come up to the front and face off, and we will see you all at the weigh-in tomorrow.
That was a very measured press conference. Very unlike yesterday, Chris. No fireworks, fighters very respectful of each other, but it doesn't take away from what I think will be some good undercard fights there.
Yeah, no fireworks at the press conference, but I'm expecting real fireworks in the ring. You've got some heavy-handed guys on that dais. Jesus Ramos, Brandon Figueroa, Amantes Stanionis, their opponents. You know, they've got some power on their resume as well. You see Vito Milnicki standing up there, a guy that was considered one of PBC's better prospects for some time. So you've got some good punchers that I think are going to lead to some pretty good fights.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the fighters there as well. Brandon Figueroa, interim champion, obviously looking to get upgraded. Ray Vargas has the current WBC featherweight title. Wait to see what Ray Vargas does. Stanionis, a regular champion. We wait to see what Terence Crawford does. He wants to be upgraded. So there's fighters on that top table, all very, very close to real gold, if you like.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good interim title in boxing? Because they just
Boxing
love to
certainly
throw
does.
around those interim belts. But the reality of the situation is that the winner of the fights featuring Stanionis and Mario Barrios are going to eventually be upgraded to full champions. They will be the 147-pound title holders in that division. And that's what makes this card even more relevant, because you've got two fighters connected to PBC in Barrios and Stanionis. If they get through their respective fights, and these are good fights for both these men, they could meet in a unification fight for two real belts later this year.
Yeah, Stanionis has had a difficult last 2 years, right? A couple of scheduled fights fallen through, the big one being Virgil Ortiz. He's done nothing for 2 years. He's been waiting. Yes, he does have a belt, but fighters want to fight nonetheless. And it's a big opportunity for him here to kind of put himself, again, in people's minds on a big platform and hopefully do some real damage in the 147-pound division.
Yeah, I was in Texas that week where Stanionis and the Virgil Ortiz fight fell apart because Virgil Ortiz had a health issue during the fight week. And I can tell you from talking to Stanionis and his team, they were just so bitterly disappointed because they had already been off for about a year at that point. They were anxious to get back in the ring. Stanionis is coming off, technically, his career best win against Butayev. That was a terrific fight on the Errol Spence undercard a couple of years ago. So he felt he had some momentum after that fight. He's lost a lot of that momentum, but he's hoping this fight can be the first step to getting it back.
Yeah, one guy who does have momentum, Ariel Helwani, joins us, is Mario Barrios. Coming off that really good win against Jordinas Ugas. Again, he would like to have been a lot busier since then. But he's a guy that a lot of people are thinking, now that a lot of the big boys have left the 147-pound division, he could be a real force in there with obviously the likes of Boots Ennis.
I thought I was just going to stand here and not speak the whole time.
No,
but
well,
if you guys want me to speak, I'd be happy to speak. You guys are doing a great job. Barrios is tremendous. And obviously 2 tough losses against 2 of the better fighters in his weight class, Tank Davis and Keith Thurman. But he looked really good against Ugas. And I would say on this undercard, one of the better fighters to watch. I'm looking forward to Brandon Figueroa. Obviously, we have Naoya Inoue fighting on Monday morning here in the United States over in Japan. And so it's always fun. I don't think he's next for Inoue if he wins. But, you know, has the loss to Fulton. Maybe he can get a big win here and sort of be in that discussion. So it's always fun when, you know, top dogs are fighting close to each other.
You know, when you see him line up like this, obviously, look, all the focus will be on Canelo Munguia, obviously. But when you do see them head-to-heads here, it's actually a very decent undercard. Some good matchups on the undercard, and that isn't always the case when you have sort of a big headline act.
No, this is a good matchup as well. You know, Barrios recently reunited with his former trainer, Bob Santos, who's one of the better trainers in boxing, great technical trainer, and they worked a lot on his footwork, you know, from that he felt was kind of getting a little bit sloppy after recent fights, and it seemed to work out pretty well in that fight against Jordanis Ugas. Ugas and Barrios came in. That was prognosticated to be a 50-50 type of fight. And Barrios really controlled it from start to finish. So this is a young man that I think is starting to peak right now as a welterweight.
This is what we talk about. This is what fans don't like. And what I mean is these interim belts. Fans hate this because they don't know who the champions are. They see some of the belts here, and this isn't the fault of the fighters. It's the fault of boxing. But hopefully, as Chris Mannix was saying, a lot of these fighters will be upgraded to full champions. Stanionis will be upgraded to full WBA champion, and I expect Barrios to be upgraded to full WBC champion as well. But it is annoying when you see all these belts on stage and try and work out who is the champion, who's not here.
It just waters things down, and if we can nitpick even more, I just wish that they would revamp these press conferences, man. Like yesterday, Oscar saved the day, but today it drags. There's no questions by the media. It doesn't help build any buzz for these fights, and as you just said, these are solid fights featuring solid stars and up-and-comers and interim champions. There's got to be a way to inject some life into these in the pre-fight build.
Yeah, there certainly has to. I mean, you can't always have an Oscar De La Hoya floating around, although
smack.
It would have been nice to see him make an appearance here today as well.
Seriously, where was Oscar?
I think Oscar's done for the week.
Okay. Go check him out on his Instagram. He had a few more hits over there.
Oscar. All right, look, let's talk about the big breaking news yesterday. All right, let's not hide away from it. It is the elephant in the room. Chris, I want to throw this one to you straight away. Ryan Garcia tested positive for performance-enhancing drug. Obviously, look, it was the best weekend of his career. It no longer is. Fill the gaps in for us. Fill the gaps in for people back home that don't quite understand what's happened, what drug it was, and where we are right now.
Yeah, let's just stick with what we know at this point, which is Ryan Garcia tested positive for a banned substance called Ostarine, which is prohibited by VADA, prohibited by the World Anti-Doping Agency. He tested positive for Ostarine in tests taken on the 19th and the 20th, which is the day before his fight with Devin Haney and the day of his fight with Devin Haney. The reason it is only being revealed now is that these tests take some time. It's not like a pregnancy test where you could just stick something in urine and it comes out the way it comes out. It takes time. You have to send it off to the lab. That lab is in Salt Lake City. It has to get tested. The results have to come in. So there's nothing really out of the ordinary about these results coming back a week, 10 days after the fight. But this is a serious substance. Ryan Garcia is going to have to come up with a reason why this substance came into his body if it turns out this result stands.
Obviously, Ryan Garcia has said he's innocent. We wait to see what happens. Golden Boy have released a statement. This is the statement from Golden Boy, Ryan Garcia's promoters. They say Ryan has put out multiple statements denying knowingly using any banned substances, and we believe him. We are working with his team to determine how this finding came to be, and will address this further once we conclude that process. That's a statement released by Golden Boy, Ryan Garcia's promoters, earlier today. What's interesting there is the word knowingly. So obviously this isn't an admittance of guilt, but they realize obviously something's in his system. Ryan didn't knowingly take anything.
Well, there's a few things that are also interesting. Number one, Ostarine is a substance that has been found in supplements that have been tainted. There's actually a few cases in the UFC world where this has come up. Very recently, Daniel Rodriguez got a slap on the wrist because Ostarine was found in his system. Ironically, a foe of one, Ryan Garcia's, Sean O'Malley, had 2 positive tests back in the day where Ostarine was found in his system, and he too walked away with a slap on the wrist. This is a first-time offense for Ryan Garcia, and as you mentioned, Chris, 19th and 20th, he took multiple tests leading up to the fight, and all of those came back clean. So that's interesting in its own right. The other one that is super interesting from people that I spoke to was the presence potentially of nandrolone in his system. That's an anabolic steroid. If that comes back, and that has been yet to be confirmed because they have to do that isotope ratio test, if that comes back positive as well, that's a big problem. That's an anabolic steroid. That's a huge issue. That's from a test on April 19th. So we have to see what comes out from that. Also, they're going to test both B samples of the 19th and 20th tests. It never happens that the B sample shows something different than the A sample. So he could be holding out hope in that regard. If it comes back that those are also positive, the New York State Athletic Commission is going to overturn this result, no doubt about it. And then the big question is, how long is the suspension? Usually for a first-time offense, it could be 2 to 6 months. It won't be a year, but that result will be turned to a no contest if they come back and say that both samples are both positive.
And as you said, this now comes down to the New York State Athletic Commission. They now have jurisdiction over this entire case. VADA is not a sanctioning body. VADA just takes the test, gives the results, and relies on the commissions to mete out the justice for this particular punishment. Now, this supplement or this substance has been found in boxing before. Back in 2016, Lucien Boutte tested positive for Ostarine prior to his fight against Badu Jack. The D.C. Commission there overturned the result, which was a draw, and made it a DQ win for Badu Jack. Just a couple of years ago, Amir Khan over in the UK tested positive for Osterring. He was given a 2-year ban. Now, Amir has never fought again, and that's probably due to the fact that Amir was probably never going to fight again, but that was a significant punishment that the British Boxing Board handed out to Amir Khan. So really this is going to come down to what the New York Commission decides is an appropriate punishment for Ryan Garcia.
Ultimately, and this is from me speaking as a boxing fan, I feel like the whole thing's just so disappointing for Ryan Garcia at the moment. Obviously, we wait to see how this unfolds, but 2 weeks ago it was such a fantastic night for him. Right, it was his biggest victory of his career. Although he missed weight, he still kind of went on this victory parade, and people were getting behind him. Right, it was a big win, not just for Ryan Garcia, but for boxing. You look at him; he's supposedly the face of boxing. This is now, I think, a big slap in the face to fight fans who kind of got behind him, considering everything that kind of happened in the lead up to the fight. So if this does come out that Ryan has tested positive for something, it's just disappointing.
Well, even if it comes out that it was unknowingly, and how could you ever truly tell? It's still a cloud hanging over the fight. And I guess if we want to put our promoter's hat on, it makes the rematch that much bigger. They have to rematch now. I thought they had to rematch on the night of April 20th. Now it makes the rematch that much bigger, right? Now Devin Haney and his father are going to come back and say, you cheated. Not only did you cheat by, in their minds, missing weight, they think knowingly, and now you cheated with potentially 2 different substances in your system on the night of the fight and the day before the fight. The rematch is going to be absolutely gigantic. And I hate to say that because, as Devin Haney said in his statement, people die in boxing. You go in there with an anabolic steroid in your system, that's a huge deal. You know, that's multiple months, if not years, suspension worth. But no denying, this is a huge story now, and it will make the rematch that much bigger. And shame on everyone involved if they don't do the rematch, because now it has to happen.
Chris, I know you spoke to Bill Haney this morning. What did Bill have to say about the whole situation?
You know, Bill kind of vacillated between anger and distraught, right? Because Bill is looking at this from 2 different perspectives. One, he's looking at it from the perspective of the trainer, right? Like, he is now looking at his fighter taking a beating in the ring from a guy that was already more than 3 pounds overweight on the day of the weigh-in, and now potentially had a banned substance in his system, a banned substance that theoretically could have made him stronger on Fight Night. But he was also looking at it and speaking to me from the perspective of a father, right? Because he is the father of Devin Haney first and foremost. And one thing he said to me over and over again is that they almost killed my son. They could have killed my son. That's my baby. So he was as upset and bothered by what happened because of his son being the fighter as he was by the fact that his son was in the ring, potentially with a man that was extremely dangerous.
Both of you have dealt with, you in MMA, dealt with guys that have tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and you've covered so many stories about fighters that have tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. How do both of you think this plays out?
Well, I think what happens is those B samples come back. I think they show the same thing that the A samples, revealed, and then I think New York is going to slap him on the wrist. I think if I had to predict, and you don't always want to predict these things,
what's a slap on the wrist? 6 months?
Look, he wasn't going to fight in 6 months anyways, probably, but the win is going to be taken away from him, so that's going to be overturned to a no contest, and he's going to have to deal with this. And look, there's a guy whose face is on the marquee over there who had to deal with this a few years ago, Canelo Alvarez, and people bring it up along the way. It's part of his legacy now. And to your point, it's a shame because it was the greatest win of his career. He shut everyone up. Everyone had to apologize. I asked for their apology on his behalf as well, and now he's going to have to deal with this. But yes, they will overturn it. It will be a suspension. He's going to have to answer these questions, these accusations, and I would love to see a little more contrition out of him. I would love, he's laughing about it on social media, and that's kind of his gimmick right now. I get it, and I know some people like that, but Bill Haney is right. This is serious business, and even if his first reaction should be, how did this get in my system? If he's truly innocent, how did this get in my system? I feel cheated. I feel wrong. I feel like I've been abused, whatever, by the system. That doesn't seem to be his reaction, and that to me is a little troubling.
I think his explanation is going to be important here. One of the reasons I think that Canelo has largely skated on the clenbuterol positive test was that he connected it to tainted meat in Mexico. And whether you believe him or not, there were examples of athletes testing positive for tainted meat in Mexico. That was a thing at the time in Mexico, it being tainted by clenbuterol. A lot of people don't believe that. I talk to a lot of them still every day, but there was at least some plausibility there. I think Ryan's going to have to come up with something similar, whether it is a supplement that he was taking. We saw him during the week or last couple of days putting out a bottle of something, and we don't know if there was any of that supplement in that bottle, but he's pointing to that as potentially being the culprit for why he tested positive. He is going to have to give people a reason, the New York Commission a reason to believe him. And to Ariel's point, I can tell you the New York Commission takes this very seriously. They're as serious a commission as there is in all of combat sports. Ryan going out there and kind of trolling about this, making a joke about this, is not going to sit well with members of the commission. You can certainly say that if he continues down that path, there's the potential for it only enraging them further and maybe tacking on 6 more months to a potential suspension.
Yeah, New York is very strict. Certainly when it comes to MMA, they're almost too strict. And in boxing, they have seen tragedies. They don't want to be the place where people feel like they could just go in and cheat, basically. And again, let's see what happens. It has happened before, to your point, where people have had things in their system and it happened unknowingly. There are tainted supplements all the time. But they are going to try to make an example out of him. If they believe that he is not taking this seriously, or if he's guilty, this is not going away anytime soon for Ryan Garcia.
And one other thing, just for context, a recent New York State Athletic Commission suspension was with Edgar Berlanga, right? Edgar Berlanga bit Roman Angulo in the ring. Now, that's bad, but they gave Edgar Berlanga 6 months for that. Like, this would theoretically be a much more significant development. This would be something they would treat a lot more seriously than a bite. That's why I think it's certainly possible we could see a year-long suspension for Ryan Garcia.
And if I could just add one last quick thing, as some fans know, if New York gives him a year suspension, he can't fight anywhere else in America. Every other commission under the sun is going to honor that. So if you're a fan out there that says, oh, big deal, New York can't fight there. No, Nevada's going to honor that. California's going to honor that. Everyone will honor that.
Yeah, you say that. Sometimes, right, a year out the ring for a lot of these boxers who only fight once a year isn't the worst thing in the world. All right, let's stick to matters here. You weren't here yesterday, but I know you watched it. Oscar De La Hoya's written rant
to
Canelo, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. Canelo responding was fantastic. I had a translator sitting next to me trying to give me word for word what was going on. What did you make of what Oscar had to say yesterday and Canelo's rebuttal?
Okay, well, first of all, it was tremendous theater. The first thing I thought of when he walked up there, and we see Oscar right now at the dais from yesterday, I had him in my studio on the Wednesday before the Garcia fight, and I said, like, how are you going to handle this? You're up there with Canelo. You guys used to be business partners. You promoted him all those years, and now you're back together. He said, oh, I got some stuff for him in the chamber. And I was like, all right, Oscar's a man of his word, because he had some stuff in the chamber and he unloaded a lot of it. I wish he wasn't reading. If I can nitpick the performance, I wish he wasn't reading. I wish it truly came from the heart.
A performance?
But it was something, and Canelo was tremendous as well. It's one of the the first times in my life where I truly was upset that I couldn't understand Spanish, because I wanted to know exactly in real time what he was saying. But that was great stuff. It was great promotion, and it made the fight feel even bigger. I think if I were to gauge how this would impact Saturday night, I think Oscar just made Canelo very mad. There's a lot of mutual respect between Canelo and Jaime Munguia, and I feel like Canelo is now going to take out all his frustrations and anger on Munguia. I heard Eddie Hearn this morning say on DAZN that he wouldn't be surprised if Canelo chin checks Oscar the next time they see each other, and I guess the next time they're going to see each other is tomorrow at the weigh-ins, so look out for that. But yes, we don't often see Canelo that upset, and I felt like he was fuming mad yesterday.
It's remarkable, because for context, 14 years ago to the day, Oscar De La Hoya stood right there on that very same stage and declared Canelo Alvarez to be the future of boxing. That was on the undercard of Floyd Mayweather against Shane Mosley, where Canelo first fought for Golden Boy Promotions. He was the co-main event of that fight against Jose Miguel Cotto. And Oscar stood there as a 30-something-year-old promoter and said, that's the new guy, that's the man. You fast forward a few years, and Canelo Alvarez, you can make the argument, kind of saved Golden Boy Promotions when they were being raided when the separation happened between Oscar and Al Heyman. Canelo elected to stay with Golden Boy and really kept that company afloat for a couple of years. To see this relationship deteriorate to the point where they have to be separated on stage at a press conference that doesn't really involve either one of them head-to-head, it really kind of blows your mind a little bit, seeing how far this relationship has sunk down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, for my 2 pence, I thought it was absolutely fascinating. I thought it was fantastic as well. And just watching it back there, the things that I missed in real time, the little kind of push forward that Oscar did there, almost shrugging his shoulders at Canelo, I think that really wound up Canelo. But you have to forget, let's not forget, that Oscar's a fighter. has been a fighter, will always be a fighter. And I felt like the fighter and Oscar, not the promoter, came out yesterday. But I thought it was fascinating. Obviously, look, we are here for Canelo Munguia. All the marbles, all the belts on the line, 168-pound straps will all be up for grabs on Saturday. May 18th, all the belts will be on the line as well in the heavyweight division as Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk finally come to blows.
Live on DAZN worldwide May 18th. The fight of the century. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Tyson Fury looks to reign as king of the division. But Alexander Usyk is undefeated and coming for the crown. For the first time in over 20 years, all the belts are on the line. Ring of Fire, live on DAZN worldwide May 18th. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Hey champ, I know why you're here. You're a born winner, the top dog. You have a proper punch on you. It only takes one, eh? But I know you're not all about throwing haymakers. You know your bobs from your weaves, and you know DAZN's got over 150 fights every year. Over 150, proper stat. All the action, the chaos, the comebacks, the non-stop knockouts. Big fights every week. So get those gloves back on. Together, we're boxing royalty. DAZN, undisputed.
Yeah, so many good fights coming up in the next couple of weeks. Hernandez Lugo, this fight in Mexico, Saturday, May 11th. The X-Series 14 is back from the Troxy in London. Salt Papi versus Amadeus Ferrari. Look who I'm joined by, just by the power of TV. Boom, just like that. Claudio Trejos and Sergio Mora are with me. Sergio, look, you've probably been listening to the conversations that myself, Chris, and Ariel were having about Ryan Garcia. I'm so intrigued, interested to get your take on this. What is your take on what's happened with Ryan Garcia in the last 24 hours?
Well, right now we got to wait until all the evidence is in. We have to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's a bad look. It really is a bad look because Ryan Garcia is on top of the world again. And we as broadcasters, as fighters, as people in the business, we hate to hear this because another black eye for boxing. But like I said, let's wait until all the evidence comes out. Let's give Ryan Garcia the benefit of the doubt. He's not the first fighter on a big level, on a top level, on a superstar level to ever come back with a positive drug test. So let's see all the facts before we start criticizing.
Yeah, Claudia, me and you got the information at the same time, right? We were both stunned when we saw that the information come through. What's your take on this? To kind of allude to what Sergio said, Ryan Garcia almost is on the top of the world at the moment, right? I mean, fantastic win over Devin Haney, regardless of coming in a bit heavy on scales. It still kind of propelled him to become the face of boxing. This kind of, at the moment, taints a lot of that.
Of course, and because he is riding that very high moment in his career, it makes him a very easy target for these type of things to happen because everybody's going to scrutinize the type of trainer, the type of supplements he took. But let's not forget, we lived this very similar situation with Alicia Baumgartner when she tested positive, and then we found out that there were very minimal traces that could have come through other supplements. So we're very quick at jumping at criticism, and obviously when you're riding so high, having such a definite win against somebody that we didn't expect that to happen. But I'm hoping that things will be resolved. The sad part about this situation is we just heard the news that he tested positive. I'm not sure we will hear it if he does get cleared, because that's the way media works.
It certainly is. But we do know also New York State Athletic Commission will come down on him. They're not one to take these things very lightly. It was so good to be in the Barclays as well. It was so good to have a big fight back in New York. But they will come down on him. And one disappointing thing, and I think Ariel brought it up as well, we're not seeing any remorse at all from Ryan Garcia. You almost want him to, I think, shut off the social media, let your team deal with this, and kind of let's get back to business.
Well, I don't think he needs to really show remorse if he really is confident that he didn't do nothing. I mean, that's actually something that a lot of fighters with confidence, they're not gonna believe what's written about them because they're confident in that they're not guilty. Ryan Garcia takes things on a different level. He has a massive social media following, so he's not going to stop promoting himself. He's still on the world tour, and even though it's negative news, all news is good news on that status. When it comes to Ryan Garcia, however he handles it, whether it's good or bad, it's still going to be numbers for him. People are still going to watch. People are still going to do it. This is just a bad look for him. and we'll see when more evidence comes out on it.
Yeah, away from Ryan Garcia, let's quickly talk about his promoter, Claudia. We all saw Oscar yesterday, who I thought was on form yesterday. Fantastic. Look, obviously, he had this pre-written rant he wanted to give to Canelo Alvarez and did it. What did you make of Oscar? You spoke to him before and after.
There's many ways that we can take this comment. There's ways to sell the fight. There's ways to just let, bygones be bygones. Basically, we all know that there's been rough waters between Canelo and Oscar, and what better way to allow that to flourish than during a press conference. And if those two seats were left for the fight on Saturday, guess what? As of yesterday, they're totally sold out. We talked about this. So yes, we understand there's personal differences. Yes, there's a little resentment on both ends, but it does for good TV. It does for good animosity that's going to be trickling down to the ring. Of course, it doesn't include the Jaime, because I don't know if you realize, Sergio, you've been in this position. I have yet to see two opponents going for such a historical moment with so much respect for each other.
Who are you talking about?
Both Canelo and Munguia.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
No,
Oscar
no,
De La
no,
Hoya. No. It's two Mexicans on a huge Cinco de Mayo weekend, and the thing about Munguia is that we know that he only has one gear. That's forward. He goes forward. He has Mexican style. Canelo, at this later point of his career, he's not knocking him out like he used to. He still breaks people down, but Munguia's there to get hit. Munguia's there to get hit. This is going to be an explosive fight, and I love the promotion that we were touching on with Oscar De La Hoya. I love the fact that they're doing that. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya is taking a page out of Ryan Garcia's book, Crazy as a Fox. He's saying things that are getting attention. He riled up Canelo. I've never seen Canelo like that. I've never seen him get up and cuss and really get adamant about someone talking negatively about him, because he's that much of a pro. But he has a resentment towards Oscar De La Hoya, and Oscar De La Hoya took it in stride. He knows this is a promotion. It was genius on De La Hoya's part. It really was, because he got more eyeballs, and Canelo's riled up for this.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be an absolutely fascinating fight on Saturday, as will be so many big fights coming your way from Saudi Arabia in the next few weeks. Three enormous fight cards coming your way. Obviously, Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, Saturday, May 18th. Finally, an undisputed heavyweight champion will be crowned. Then we have Frank versus Eddie, Queensbury versus Matchroom, 5 versus 5, Saturday, June the 1st. And what about this one? Estrada versus Bam Rodriguez. Pound for pound kings. Super flyweights Estrada moving up to. Should be a fascinating card as well, that one. All right, fight week is well and truly underway here. I've enjoyed it. The press conferences have been fun, but still so much more to come as well. The weigh-ins will get underway tomorrow at 12 p.m. from the Toshiba Plaza. We will be there. We will see Oscar and Canelo go nose to nose again, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if Oscar steps on the scale for that one as well, but it should be fun. The crowd, we know, will be crazy as well. And because there is two different Mexican fan bases, it's going to be interesting, Sergio.
It is interesting because, Mexico's a big country, and there's different support in different countries. And, we all know that in Guadalajara, there's a passion there. And Canelo represents that whole country, carries it on his back, and he's proud of his, roots in Guadalajara. And when it comes to Jaime Munguia, he's, from Tijuana, Baja California. That's a different type of Mexican. So, two rabid fan bases, two different styles of boxing as well. Completely different fighters and mentalities. This is exactly what Mexican style is on a huge weekend. And here in Las Vegas, doesn't get bigger. It does not get bigger than this, Adi.
Certainly doesn't. Toshiba Plaza is going to be bouncing tomorrow, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the weigh-in as well. Just a couple more sleeps to Canelo versus Munguia.
Live on DAZN, May 4th, a PBC pay-per-view. Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. One is a legend, undisputed king of the division, icon of the sport. One is undefeated, 43 wins, dangerous, destructive, and coming for all the belts. One will rule. Canelo versus Munguia, May 4th. Buy now at DAZN.com.